Is the bromance dead? Macron uses bizarre sausage analogy to describe calls with Trump. Emmanuel Macron used a bizarre sausage analogy to describe phone calls with Donald Trump after being questioned whether his recent interaction with the president was terrible. The French leader quoted from Prussian statesman Otto von Bismarck in a press conference with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu when asked about his recent interaction with the Republican firebrand. He said, as Bismarck used to say, "If we explain to people how sausages were made, it's unlikely they'd keep eating them. So I like it when people see the finished meal, but I'm not convinced the kitchen commentary helps with delivering the meal or eating it. Here in Paris, we don't make comments on how it went, or how hot, cold, warm or terrible things are. We just go ahead and do things." Mr. Macron ended on a hopeful note by insisting he was looking forward to useful and frank talks with Trump at the G7 summit in Canada taking place on June 8 and 9. Earlier this week, a source described a recent phone call between Mr. Macron and Trump as terrible. They commented, "Just bad. It was terrible." Macron thought he would be able to speak his mind, based on the relationship. But Trump can't handle being criticized like that. The White House released a statement confirming the call about migration and trade. The readout said, both leaders discussed the migration problem in Libya, and timelines to solve it. President Trump underscored the need to rebalance trade with Europe. But the claims from the source appeared to suggest the bromance displayed at the French leader's recent state visit to Washington, D.C. could be dwindling. Although the two leaders appeared to share a close relationship when Mr. Macron desperately attempted to persuade the billionaire to remain in the Iran nuclear deal, his efforts were ultimately unsuccessful. The French leader appeared to admit his efforts had been in vain before Mr. Trump announced the U.S.'s departure from the deal by stating America would probably pull out. Last month the president announced the U.S. would be withdrawing from the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. Trump had previously slammed the deal as the worst ever agreed. His decision ignited a stream of tension in the Middle East as European leaders desperately scrambled to keep the pact alive.